The PokéBlock.
The PokéBlock.
Just the silence when you're in. Pokemon Go is now out in Japan. And real quick, we're going to try to do this as a weekly segment. If there's a lack of Pokemon news, then we won't have it. Basically what the PokéBlock is we kind of experimented with the idea of having a Pokemon podcast in addition to Koppai Podcast. But we don't really have the time or resources to do something like that right now, so we thought we'd make an individual segment. If the PokéBlock gets some special attention, if you guys upvote it, like it, share it, and if it becomes something that's more popular, maybe we'll decide to make it its own individual show as a half-hour segment. But for now, it's just going to be one quick little segment within Koppai Podcast. But it'll go over Pokemon news, including Pokemon Go, as well as Pokemon Sun and Moon, previous Pokemon games, as well as the Pokemon trading card game, and any other things that happen in the Poke universe. So first and foremost, Pokemon Go is out in Japan, France, and Canada.
Oh, Hayden!
So, Hayden, you finally get your Pokemon Go. You don't have to worry about being banned from the servers because you illegally downloaded it. And eventually you're going to get your Lucario amiibo. Also, according to Sensor Tower, Pokemon Go has passed 30 million downloads and has made $35 million in revenue.
Wow.
So the average Pokemon Goer spends about $1 on the game. I've spent $0.
Same here. I'm determined to beat the game without spending any money, because I feel like that is another one of just those accomplishments, the little achievements that you can make to yourself, because it's like, it's super tempting, but at the same time, it seems like it can basically just be won without it, and like, I want to earn the win, you know, like, I have that feeling of wanting to go out and walk for the win, basically.
Honestly, if I wanted to catch more Pokemon, I'd just get the game. Like, if that was my completely, like, 100% goal of this Pokemon Go game was just, like, to catch them, then I just get the game. So I don't know why, like, to buy Pokeballs, but...
Or if my goal was to, like, be, you know, just the best in the city, or, like, trying to just stay on top of, you know, being the highest leveled person, I can see you wanting to spend some money on it. Like, if
even
you're super
that, though,
competitive,
I don't know. Yeah.
It seems like a vain attempt. Like, it's really basically impossible to keep up with, but...
Vanity.
Yep.
But no, I mean, I can understand maybe spending $1 on a lure module if you have some friends over and you want to hang around and catch some Pokemon.
Yeah.
Everyone chip in $0.25 and you just hang at the park for a bit. But beyond that, not too much reason for me personally to spend any money. I'm glad you can't buy candies or Stardust yet. But yeah, Pokemon Go overall is being pretty well received across the world. Lots and lots of business opportunities people are taking advantage of. It has caused GameStop's merchandise sales to go up, quote, 100%. That just makes it sound like it came from 0% to 100. So Pokemon Go has single-handedly saved GameStop. It's also being used to get kids out of hospital beds and go on walks. I've seen other people use it for dog walking and businesses and everything like that. I saw a lemonade stand where someone had raspberry, like blueberry, and just normal lemonade, and then they had a Pokestop by their house. Basically, it's changing the whole world in the midst of a lot of hate and depression, and the Republican National Convention. Pokemon Go is saving us all. And so I'm excited to see what else happens. I'm excited for more Pokemon to get added. We've talked ad nauseum about Pokemon Go in previous discussions. Be sure to go and check out those previous discussions on iTunes, SoundCloud, and YouTube.com/KoppaiGaming. But I think I caught a Poliwhirl this week, or a Poliwag this week.
Yeah.
I went down in Minneapolis and caught a few just like Pokemon I already had. The servers are getting better. They're getting their poop in a group. I'm getting very close to evolving my Squirtle. I went up about 3 levels with my Lucky Egg and saved a bunch of Pokemon to evolve, and I went from early 16 to about mid 18.
Oh, nice.
Which is pretty nice when you get to these higher levels to go up that far.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so just kind of, it's been a little bit of a break this past week just because of starting my new job, and also the servers were pretty much crap on my one day off. Or on one of my 2 days off. And my second day off, I did get a nice walk in, but it was so hot outside.
Yeah,
it makes me curious as to what's going to happen on rainy days, and especially when it gets snowy. Are you going to have like just California and Florida people just rocking Pokemon Go, but everyone in the North and Midwest is just dying outside of negative weather and
Yeah.
the game just plummets? Or are they
Yeah.
going to have some sort of initiative where they're like, you get double XP when it's below 0 or something? Like, some reason to get you out there walking. But
Yeah, that's been my biggest problem with the game so far is that I haven't been able to play some days for the most of the day because it's been 105 degrees outside. We've been in like an excessive heat warning. We basically were in that for the entire week. It was getting to like 108 degrees outside during the peak hours, and it was like just you can't really go far and do much when it's like that. And then on the other side is like because I haven't been spending money and there's not too many Pokestops that are right nearby me. I've run low on Pokeballs quite a bit, and so it's been a lot of having to go to stops and fill up my Pokeballs again, then using those up, and then going out for stops. So sometimes I'm so low on Pokeballs that it's actually gotten to the point where if I see like a Pidgey or a Weedle that I've already caught like a million of them, and
yeah,
I
I
click on it.
pass.
I click on it, and if it's like a CP 40 or a CP 10, 50, if it's under 100, then I'll throw a Pokeball after it. If it's a CP 380 Pidgey, and it's probably gonna break out a couple of times potentially, I'm like, why waste my time on you? But luckily, like it's a good feeling when I find one that's like 10 CP, and it's like, yeah, I'll just throw one Pokeball at it and get it. But if it's, some of these are getting ridiculous where it's a CP 500 Rattata, and I'm like, yeah, no thanks. I'm going to just pass on you. Because you'll just break out like 5 times and then run off.
Yeah, and it's pointless when you get the same amount of candy and all experience for
Yeah,
lower level
definitely.
CP. They need to boost the CP for higher level, or boost the XP for higher level CP Pokemon.
I also like the idea of when I'm walking around sometimes and I'm low on, like it makes it a bit more realistic when I am hatching, like walking just for the sake of hatching eggs for the most part, not
Hmm.
catching Pokemon. And I'll see some Pokemon on my map and it's like, oh, there's a Pidgey nearby and a Rattata. It's just like they're just kind of living their lives and I'm not catching them. Like
Yeah.
I'm still enjoying the game, but I'm using it for like, this is a stopwalk where I'm just going to gather up as many Pokeballs as I can and not really catch much. This
I've
is
done that too.
basically a hatch walk where I'm just going to basically hatch my Pokemon and stuff like that, which is a really cool way to like not just be focused on catching everything. And also I'm just not one of those people that's like, I just want to constantly level up as much as I can. I really like taking the leisurely route with it and just taking my time because I still think I'm about like under 70 Pokemon caught and seen, so I'm still
Yeah.
not even like, I'm just over like halfway. I'm about at that halfway mark of the game, so uh, and it's slowed down dramatically. So I think it's gonna last me quite a while. I see some people that are like really try hard that are just going all out, and it seems kind of ruining the experience for themselves. But they're also those kind of people that just will ditch a game as soon as it's unpopular as their friends are kind of moving on. So,
Yeah, I'm
and I'm
doing it
just not that
completely
kind of way.
as the experience. Like I wanted to go on a
Yeah.
walk and see some Pokemon, and it's an
Yeah.
excuse to go outside, and
Yeah,
the
definitely.
Pokedex filling part of it's cool.
Hmm.
And so it's a good
They
just
need
kind
the one thing they haven't fixed recently is that 3-step bug is still
of yeah.
not working for me.
Although go to Pokevision.com,
Yeah, that
that's
does
a
help.
very nifty tool for people. Basically, did through the use of data mining, they found out where all the Pokemon are spawning, and they have complete timers and stuff. And while it can be a little bit buggy with how unstable the servers are, it seems like it can be a pretty nice resource if you want to do some Pokemon hunting, and you can get quickly out in your neighborhood and go out
Yeah,
and find them.
especially during this 3-step bug time. I would say probably if by this time you hear this and the 3-step bug is already fixed, it's kind of a immersion breaking experience to some degree. It does kind of remind me of when you go to a route in a Pokemon game and it's like these are the
The habitat
silhouettes.
list, yeah.
Yeah. So it does seem a bit like that, and it doesn't give you like an exact pinpoint of where it is. I mean, pretty much, but you can kind of go to that area and be like, okay, where is it going to show up at? But I think that the 3-step thing, when it actually works, is a pretty fun system. They need to definitely give you directionals of where to
Mm.
go, which makes it a little more frustrating. But for the most part, I think it's a little bit less fun to like know exactly the location you're supposed to go.
Mm.
The hunting element of it is pretty fun, but it has to work to actually be fun.
Yeah.
So go to PokeVision in the meantime while the bug's going on still.
Yeah,
so.
if you want to do that, otherwise just wander aimlessly.
Yeah.
I did like following the silhouettes. That was always kind of a satisfying feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on in the PokéBlock, there are some new Pokemon that were announced for Sun and Moon that we haven't had the chance to discuss yet. I would like to go more in depth with these Pokemon and maybe even discuss some of the ones that we've missed in the past that like we just kind of highlighted but never really got like into our reactions of. Maybe that can be just the PokéBlock next week.
Yeah.
Because we do want to do our final segment of the week before we head out.
Yeah.
We're also going to discuss next week in the PokéBlock, Shigeru Mori's, experience with, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire and how things are kind of different with Sun and Moon. He had some things to say. So that'll be discussion next week. Some quick notes though for the end of this PokéBlock. Pokemon is now added to Dictionary.com, the world's leading digital dictionary. It's happened. We've arrived. We did it. And the men who brought weapons to the 2015 Pokemon World Championships will spend 2 years in jail. Good. They could spend longer in there. This week in Pokemon Go Stupid, a Pokemon hunter was impaled on a fence. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I don't think he died or anything. It was just
Okay.
he was climbing over and his leg got impaled by like a spike on the fence or something because he was hopping over some like tall like monument or something like that.
The White House monument.
Yeah.
And last but not least in the PokéBlock news,
Aww.
Zach, you've completed your very first Nuzlocke challenge.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
I did
Everyone
it.
clap for Zach.
Oh my god.
You lost Dankasaur. Your starter Pokemon died in Victory Road.
Yeah.
Brutal death from what I heard.
Yep.
Left alone to die in the cold.
Yeah, overall 18 of my Pokemon died along the journey to the Elite Four, so that's like 3 teams worth of Pokemon.
Sad. Like that you ended the Elite Four and they're playing the victory music and you have blood on your hands. You're like, oh my gosh. Your pupils are completely like tiny little balls. Oh man.
Yeah, but nobody, thankfully, the Elite Four battle went completely perfectly. I mean, there was a couple scary moments because basically a few of my attacks, like I had Thunder on my Jolteon, I had Fire Blast on my Arcanine named Simba, and my Jolteon was named Trigger because he gets constantly triggered by everything. I read the description of Jolteon's personality, and I guess it's like constantly angry or sad. So I nicknamed it Trigger. And he was very helpful because there's a couple of Gyarados in the Elite Four that you have to take down. They're like 4 times a week to electricity. But like there's some scary moments where I would like use Thunder and it's like the attack missed because the accuracy of it wasn't amazing. And even Fire Blast was also kind of the same way. But I had 2 Pokemon that I didn't get all the way raised the way that I wanted to. That was my Slowpoke named Soma, who is level like 30. And my Dodrio nicknamed Fallout, who was level 40, who basically flew me everywhere. And those guys, I was like really concerned because I was like, do I bring them up to the level 65, whatever that I wanted everybody to be at for the Elite Four? But I didn't, and I went in and like thankfully I made myself like super prepared with tons of items and everything was ready to go. What I really liked about it is that like I had my my Dugong nicknamed Sailor because I got him in a trade in Cinnabar or whatever it is, Island or whatever it is. He like got that boost, that experience boost from whenever you fight, and so he raised levels in my grind like pretty good, and he got up to level 70 before I went into the Elite Four, which was like about 10 levels above everybody else. So he was basically able to take down a lot of people, and I was able to switch to my Jolteon for a certain Pokemon that had the type advantage, and then I was able to switch to my Arcanine for like the Ghost Pokemon and the Fire Blast and like Executor, and then I used Gyarados against his Charizard in like the final moment and used Surf and just like hit his Charizard, and so like everybody that was raised up was able to work together as a team, and it was so perfect and beautiful, and it was a great feeling. Like nobody died, it all went perfectly. I became the Pokemon Master.
And now you're going to transfer them all to Pokemon
Yeah, and
Moon,
now they
right?
all get to go to Sun and Moon, which was like the big goal, and it's like it's getting me excited to do another Nuzlocke next.
So you're going to release the 2 that died in the Elite Four and only take the 4 with you to Sun and Moon?
Well, no, nobody died in the Elite Four.
Oh, I thought 2 died in Elite Four.
No,
Sorry.
no.
Nice,
Nobody
cool.
died. Yep, I didn't have to use the 2 lower level ones at all because thankfully
Okay.
Jolteon, Arcanine, and Gyarados and Dugong were able to just completely take it. I had a couple ethers with me so that I could restore my PP of some of my moves that were going down, and yeah, it all, I had a plan going in, but I was super nervous and was like, oh, if this goes wrong, if anything happens, because they really, when you read, the descriptions of the Elite Four, it's like, they got a really well-rounded team, they got, a Pokemon to beat your, if you're, none of them are just one type. If they have one type to beat that type, and I'm like, holy crap. And they're like, make sure you get your team to 65 or 70 if you're doing Nuzlocke. And I'm like, oh my god, it's, I'm 53 hours into this. If I go in and anything bad happens, that's all for nothing. It was a lot of pressure, but thankfully.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm starting mine over. I have Twitter, Red, Heimlich, I think Argonon, and I don't know who else. But we just left the Viridian Forest. I've done the Nuzlocke a few times and I've died many, many times. And my best one though was when cause you can't catch more than 1 Pokemon per route.
Yeah.
And so I worked around the system and caught a Magikarp in a city because that wasn't technically the same route.
Yeah.
And then I'd train that Magikarp and then I went and fought Lieutenant Surge and he just destroyed the Magikarp. So, he was struggling the whole time. But yeah, so that's the PokéBlock. We'll continue on with that kind of discussion next week. And even maybe I can share more of my Nuzlocke and you can reflect on some of your Nuzlocke experiences because that's such an epic tale. And you're going to start blue now, I think, right? Or
I think I'm going to go to yellow next, actually.
Okay,
because
perfect.
I'm definitely craving some color.
Yeah, I bet that's. Or you could do your Alpha Sapphire, but
yeah, I know. That's big. That's jumping so far in the generations ahead that I'm seriously debating it. What do I do? What do I go to next? Do I go to Gen 1 again? Although Yellow's different enough since it's based on the anime, that it'll be interesting. There's a lot of changes.
Mm-hmm.
And then going all the way to Alpha Sapphire, that seems really fun. I love the 3D and going to modern, but then also I really like kind of holding off my for Sun and Moon, just how much it makes it seem better to me. Because I'm playing so much Gen 1 that I kind of like sticking with it for a bit longer. So, but yeah.